Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Just One More Level podcast, Season 2. I am your co-host, Christian.
And I'm your co-host, John.
And this week we played a little bit of a wonderful game that John just fell in love with as soon as he touched it.
Yeah.
A childhood favorite for millions of people, Dragon Tales DragonSeek.
Yeah, Tales, DragonSeek.
That's all you got to say on it, John? Just yeah?
Oh my God! Listen,
Yeah.
I used to watch the TV show. Okay.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I watched the TV and I enjoyed it. I didn't remember a whole lot about it, so as I was playing this for this podcast, Amber filled me in on details about the TV show that I had forgotten. But the game itself, I don't want to rag too hard on it, but it was obnoxious.
I didn't find it that bad. So, I mean, as always, we talked a little bit about the game, of course, before we started doing the episode today. I didn't find it that bad, to be honest. I mean, it's nothing amazing, of course, but I mean, because I mean, the show is aimed at children how old? I mean, like toddlers, basically, if we're being honest here. So we're talking like
7, 8 years old maximum.
6 to 9. Yeah, 6 to 9, I would say, is kind of the age range, maybe 5 to 9 that this sort of game would be aimed at. So it's not that bad, in my opinion, to be honest. The animations are fairly well done for a PlayStation game. It's nice and colorful.
Yeah.
The sound effects and things aren't obnoxious. They're nothing amazing, but they're not obnoxious. Did you beat the game?
Yeah, I beat the game. It took me about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's incredibly easy, so I figured you did. What difficulty did you play on? Do you remember?
The hardest one.
Okay, good.
I did. But you can get hints from what's his name?
You can
Mr.
turn that off in the options.
Quetzal.
Yeah, so in the options, this game actually has a fair amount of options. Surprisingly, you can turn off if you beat the game. There's a sing-along section, and the song at the end is random that it plays for you. So it just plays random songs. You can turn that off if you don't want to deal with that. In between every level, there are storybooks that pop up, kind of detailing what you did throughout the game. In my opinion, they're kind of trash, but for some reason they're there, and you can save them to the memory card if you really liked what you did for some reason.
I believe
you can turn that off as well.
And Doris Lady, you can correct me if I'm wrong on the stream here, but I believe that's how the segments ended on the TV show. The TV show was a 30-minute block, and they were 2 15-minute stories within that block. So there was like a midsection and then the final ending song there. So I'm pretty sure that's how the segments transition. Yeah. I've just got confirmation on the stream here.
Yeah. But which I do recall. I watched it a little bit as well, so I do kind of recall that.
Christian, I will quote to you. I wrote notes.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I will quote to you the number one problem I had with this game. How many more places am I going to have to look before I find someone? That's my problem. And if you watch the gameplay, if you guys watch the Game Grumps play it back in the day, they did this as a little one-off joke type thing. That is the animation that plays every time you look behind an area that the dragon is not hiding in, and they're not there. And that entire animation, I timed it, takes 11 seconds.
Right.
Which is an eternity.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but again, imagine being 6 years old.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? 7 years old. This game wasn't made for 2 20-something-year-old guys to play.
No.
That's not what it was made for. It was made for 6-year-old children. And that's why there is a hint system there and whatnot. And I think it's amazing that they added 4 different difficulty settings that actually do make differences in the gameplay. They added the ability to do things like remove that storybook if you find it annoying. If you think the game's too easy, even on the harder difficulty settings, you can turn off the hint system. So they made it accessible to children of a wide range of ages, which I think is amazing. Personally, I mean, honestly, I don't know if you played around with any of the lower difficulty settings.
I did a little bit, yeah.
But on like difficulty 1, you just kind of press any direction button and it'll walk you to the next point that you can view in, and it also simplifies the level for you. In the second difficulty setting, it's kind of the same thing, but you have to hold the button to walk between points. At the third difficulty setting, I forget exactly what it changes. I think you can walk either direction. Yeah, you can walk either direction in the third difficulty setting. But instead of doing the platforming yourself, you just press a button and it does the platforming for you. It would like jump to the next point or whatever. And then the fourth difficulty setting, you do everything yourself, and it also has the largest levels. So I think that's really good, to be honest with you. I think they handle difficulty great for a game meant for children of that age range.
But if I could use some business language, if I could speak to that point, I played a lot of PBS type games on the computer at the library when I was a kid, and this reminded me a lot of that. And those games were all free if you had access to a computer. So I enjoyed those games when I was a kid because, you know, I'd be six years old at the library computer lab going to CartoonNetwork.com or Nickelodeon.com, or even they had some like educational game websites that they were recommending to people to have their kids go to. So there was like a Magic School Bus game on the computer, and there was a couple different things like that. And this game reminded me a lot of that, both in art style and game. And those games free at the library. What would perturb me, I think, as a parent, is shelling out $300 for the $300 for the console, and then another $40 for this game. So while I think that it is well executed for what it is and for the age range that it's aiming at, I think that they could have made more out of it, because the entirety of the game, if you can't tell by the title, DragonSeek, is a hide and seek experience. You play as one of the human characters and you travel through the level looking for your dragon friend. And I think that could have been executed as a mini game that's part of a bigger maybe I'm off base here just because of, like you said, the age range that it is marketed. Maybe some younger players could have handled something on that scale. But I would have loved to have seen that personally. I just would have loved to have seen like a bigger, more expansive game. There's a tiny section where there's like a race where you have to feed your dragon berries to make them go
it's at
faster.
the end of every, so depending on your difficulty level changes how many of the levels you play through before you beat the game, essentially. Or lose, I imagine, if you run out of time, but I never did.
Right.
But anyways, and yeah, there's a race section, and it's shorter or longer depending which difficulty you're on, and you use the berries that you find during the hide and seek, as well as so every time you check in a location, there's a chance that you'll get a berry or a dragon or nothing.
Right.
And so you might find a berry, or if you find a dragon, they'll also give you a single berry. So there's some incentive, at least on the higher difficulties, there's some incentive to find extra berries.
Right.
If you want to get a true ending, quote unquote.
Sure, right. But I think it could have been more fun if this was Dragon Tales the game, and there were a variety. There was DragonSeek, you could have had a racing section, there could have been some kind of rescue mission where you just platform through a level and you have to rescue one of the dragons. Something like that, maybe take inspiration from the show. I know there was a ton of different storylines in the show where the dragons would have some kind of problem that Max and Emmy, the two main characters, would have to figure out for them. Something like that. I guess my biggest complaint is that I felt it was there wasn't enough.
Too one-dimensional.
Yeah, there wasn't enough game. I thought there could have been more. I thought it could have been fun if there was more game. I'm not gonna sit here and rag on it too hard. You know, like I'm not gonna say, oh, the artwork is kind of passable for the PS1. They could have done better or something like that. I'm not gonna say that like the music was lacking or anything like that. It was pretty well done, and I imagine it was made on a shoestring budget, considering this was a PBS program.
Right.
So for what it is, and I imagine the budget they had to work with, you know, they did a pretty good job. But I would have liked to have seen more. I want a little more Dragon Tales, a little more bang for my buck.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree to some point. But I do think, again, I just keep coming back to the age group that it was made for. Now, maybe having, like you kind of mentioned, like having a mini game type of system where you could pick different modes to play. I mean, maybe I could see something like that. I don't know. Personally, I don't know what else they would have done with it while keeping it accessible to such a wide range of young children. Because, I mean, just the difference between a 5-year-old child and a 9-10-year-old child is pretty big as far as their comprehension and what kind of games they can really sit down and play.
Right.
So, like the racing game, how would they have made it interesting with multiple levels, but still keeping it so a 5-year-old child could play it without
True.
boring the heck out of a 10-year-old child,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what else they could have really done with it, but
Yeah, I feel that. I feel
like
that.
you,
Yeah.
I do feel like it was made well. Like what they did was done well, especially whenever you're considering the age range that it was for.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't have the same sort of problem with it that you do, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't. It's not like I'm gonna sit down and play any more of it. Spoiler alert. But
Sure.
if I had a small child, at the time. We do have the Doris lady here is mentioning that her 7-year-old nephew would not enjoy playing this sort of game now. Which, yeah, definitely. I mean, 7-year-olds now are playing Fortnite and whatnot. But whenever I was a 4-year-old child, I was lucky if I could beat a single level on Mario or whatever, because gaming was new. Whenever I was around that age. Now, by the time I was getting like 7, 8 years old, etc., I was playing a little bit more Mario and Zelda and things like that. But 4, 5, 6, man, I think I would have enjoyed this sort of thing, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so. And it came out when we were around that age too. It came out in 2000. And it was I don't know about you. I was 6 years old in 2000, so you would have been seven-ish. Yeah. So, and I was watching Dragon Tales when it was new. So I think I would have liked this game. Back then, I think I had a different taste personally, just on a personal level. Like I liked a little bit more adventure and action. I liked Super Mario World, and I liked the challenge even at the time. But that was personal for me. I remember at the local grocery store, they had a sort of makeshift daycare where you could drop your kids off. I don't know if anybody else had this experience.
I'm sure somebody out there has. I certainly did not, but
it wasn't
our makeshift
official.
daycare was, hey, there's your neighbors down the hallway here in the apartment building. If the house catches on fire, then
right, yeah,
that was our daycare.
I remember it was at the local Giant Eagle. There was a makeshift daycare called the Eagle's Nest, and you could just go in there, and the whole place smelled like hand sanitizer. And they had different game consoles set up. They had like a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube and a couple different things like that. And you just had to, with supervision, take turns playing the video games that they had.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, no, I mean,
it is.
We didn't get taken shopping very much as a child, so I had no idea that was a thing. No clue.
Yeah, but even at that place, they had younger age games, but they didn't have anything they had I remember there was like a Tarzan game for the PlayStation 2, and I think they might have had like Crash Bandicoot and a couple different games but they didn't have anything I don't believe. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I felt like it was kind of annoying to play at this point in my life, but had I played it back then, I probably would have enjoyed it better. And had somebody else that was a much bigger fan of Dragon Tales maybe at the time played this game back then they definitely would have enjoyed it. But this game is like a little time capsule. It is something that was best enjoyed at the time, and we are now immortalizing and preserving it on the internet.
Yeah, my opinions pretty much match up with yours. Like I said, it's not something that I see myself sitting down to play any more of. No, but if I had it when I was a very small child, I think I would have been happy with it. The other thing that I really do enjoy, I just wanted to throw out there, is there aren't very many levels. There's only 4, but the levels are very, very different from each other, at least. Which I liked. That was nice. You have like a snow level, a forest level, a plains level, and then like an underground cavey type of level or something like that. So I thought that was nice, that at least the levels were all different from each other. And it seems like I didn't play through the same difficulty multiple times, so I don't know if it changes for the same difficulty, but whenever you change difficulties, the levels themselves change as well, so that adds a little bit more variety, a little bit more stuff that you can do if you were a small child and really want to play through this. And then I personally loved the sing-along section at the end. I thought that was great, especially if I was a child. I think I would have, just loved that to bits. Getting through the game and then being able to sing and dance along with, some Dragon Tales tunes.
Christian, be honest with me and yourself. Do you unironically enjoy this game?
It's
in the here and
yes
now?
And no. Not Yes and no. Like I said, I see the value in it. Unironically, I see the value in it, and I didn't have a bad time with it.
Right.
It's just it's obviously wasn't aimed towards me was the problem. But again, I just imagine having a child, and I think this would be a great game for a 4, 5, 6-year-old child.
Right.
So that's it. I mean, it's again, I'm probably never play it again, but I don't think it's a bad game at all. I'm not offended that I spent 45 minutes roughly of my life spending it playing it.
Yeah. No, I've spent my time doing worse things that were unenjoyable.
Yeah, Earthworm Jim.
What? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. I actually enjoyed. I would say I enjoyed my time playing Earthworm Jim more than this, and I think it was just. I don't know. It became personal for me after a while. The
if my final boss, or not final boss, midpoint boss in Earthworm Jim wasn't so glitched out when we were doing that episode, I may have enjoyed Earthworm Jim a little bit more. I still had other issues with it, but I think that was just kind of the nail in the coffin for it. For Earthworm Jim for me.
I've learned rather recently that I have a very different reaction to incredibly frustrating things in video games. A lot of people, their first reaction, and a proper one, I feel, is the rage quit. I'm not playing this game anymore. It's stupid. I'm putting it down.
It depends.
If you want to go to the extreme, you can throw the controller. If it's something
like glitches and things like that that's ruining it for you, then I mean, I think rage quitting is always a little petty, if we're being honest. But putting a game down, quitting a game because of something like glitches, I think is perfectly valid. But if it's just a difficulty problem, then I mean, I generally play games on the hardest difficulty. I spent like an entire day trying to beat a single boss on the hardest difficulty of Kingdom Hearts 1. So I mean, like, it's that's not a problem for me. Difficulty isn't. It's when something's difficult due to bad game design or programming that irritates me.
I would agree, but for some reason I don't have the good sense to stop torturing myself. I just say no. I'll do it one more time. I'll play just one more level. But as far as this game goes, I wouldn't play just one more level, but I suppose that point is moot because I have played all of the level.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Multiple times for me. I played it on every difficulty setting.
So I guess we would play just one more level. We did. We played the whole game.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't play just one more after that. I've done it. I saw 2 of the sing-along songs at the end. That was nice, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I've had enough of it. But if I have a child and at some point in the future, then maybe I'll pop this game out and be like, here you go. You can do some stuff and just leave me alone for a bit. So so yeah.
All right. So next up, next week on the podcast, which for you guys watching on the stream is going to be in just a few moments, we're going to play
shameless
something
plug for the stream that we do.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to be doing something truly beloved. I am very excited to talk about the game that will be coming up next week. We're going to be we have played Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. So look forward to next week's episode, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, Christian, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, I really only have Twitter and Twitch. I mean, I technically still have a YouTube channel, but I haven't really done anything on YouTube for quite a while. But just, I mean, I'm just stream the Steam pretty much everywhere. You can find me. There will be links in the videos and things like that. And then, of course, again, plug for our website. We now have a website, Just One More Podcast, where you can find links to all of our things on there, as well as my personal blog. John may also be getting one at some point in the future. News about the podcasts. All of our episodes will be up on there eventually. Polls for games that you would like to see us play, things like that. So check out the website at some point. It's Just One More Podcasts with an S.com. So
tell your friends.
John, what about you? What about you, John?
You can find me on Twitter at the Dorsman or John Dorsey 1. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me Facebook specifically, I should mention, Just One More Podcast, the Just One More Podcast Facebook page. I post pretty frequently on there. I just kind of upload some episodes we've done in the past, maybe some episodes that need a little more love. And I also have a YouTube channel, so you can find me there. I'm the Dorse Man, and I haven't done anything there in a little bit, but I am planning on reviving that. We took a little break over the Christmas holidays just to reorient and properly kind of plan out the website, plan out a schedule for how we want to do things. But plan on bringing that back, and you can find me there.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, for everybody who came and joined the stream today, thank you so much. For everybody at, I was about to say everybody at home, but I guess people on stream are at home too. For everybody else, though, who's watching this on YouTube or listening on their podcast provider of choice, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Yes, thank you so much. You didn't have to, but you did, and we appreciate it.
Bye-bye, y'all.
All right, bye-bye.